the president is standing behind his strategy, saying it's about leveling the playing field and bringing in more revenue.
They did the same thing to us for years. They took advantage of us, but we're making money. We're becoming richer and richer.
The pivot on exports is also alarming some economists who warn the tariff impact is starting to hurt the labor market, pointing to increased uncertainty and rising prices.
What if I told you the billions of dollars America is collecting through Trump's tariffs aren't actually coming from China or foreign countries, but straight out of your own pocket? While the White House celebrates record-breaking revenue, hidden costs are quietly reshaping your shopping cart, your shipping fees, and even your future tax bills. This is the untold story of how tariffs are fueling Washington's checkbook and why ordinary Americans are the ones truly paying the price. When Donald Trump returned to office for a second term, one of his boldest economic moves was reviving tariffs as a key revenue stream for the U.S. economy. And while his claims of trillions pouring in are exaggerated, the numbers still reveal a massive surge in cash flow, over $159 billion collected by early September, marking a 148% increase compared to a year earlier, or about $642 million per day. According to the Penn-Wharton budget model, projections estimate around $2.9 trillion in tariff revenue over the next decade if current rates hold. Yet this revenue still falls far short of funding Trump's ambitious goals, like debt reduction, rebate checks, or replacing the federal income tax. The mechanics behind tariffs are straightforward but significant. Importers must file paperwork with U.S. Customs and Border Protection before goods arrive, and once shipments land, tariffs must be paid within 10 to 30 days. Costs often pass down subtly to consumers through higher prices, altered shipping policies, or renegotiated supplier contracts. The ripple effects are visible at America's busiest trade hubs, especially in Southern California, where imports plunged after Trump raised tariffs on Chinese goods to 145% in April, only to rebound when rates fell to 30% in May, setting records for cargo volume by July. Once collected, tariffs flow directly into the U.S. Treasury's general fund, essentially America's checkbook. But Congress ultimately decides how that money is spent, and in the bigger picture of a ballooning deficit, tariff revenue covers only a fraction of the gap. What makes this era unique is that for the first time in decades, tariffs are being treated primarily as a revenue generator rather than just a trade weapon. But the policy is mired in uncertainty. Negotiations with trade partners remain volatile, import volumes swing unpredictably, and a federal appeals court has already ruled that Trump overstepped his authority in using emergency powers to impose global tariffs, a decision now awaiting Supreme Court judgment. Meanwhile, domestic firms have reorganized around these trade barriers, raising prices and making long-term investments, which makes tariffs politically and economically difficult to roll back. Whether Trump ultimately secures the power to expand them or faces judicial pushback, one reality remains clear. While tariffs may look like easy money flowing into Washington, it is U.S. businesses and households footing the bill. And the true test will be whether this strategy can stabilize America's mounting debt or deepen the economic strain on the very people it claims to protect. The deeper challenge with Trump's tariff-driven approach is how unpredictable it makes the global trading system. Because while the U.S. Treasury may temporarily benefit from billions in daily revenue, the long-term costs fall on American households and firms who are forced to adapt, raising questions about whether tariffs are truly a sustainable solution to structural economic issues. For example, when tariffs spiked on Chinese imports, retailers scrambled to renegotiate contracts, manufacturers sought cheaper suppliers, and consumers quietly shouldered higher prices masked through tactics like reduced product sizes or scrapped free shipping, hidden inflationary pressures that never show up directly in official tariff revenue tallies, but hit wallets all the same. Meanwhile, supply chains became more volatile, with ports like Los Angeles and Long Beach swinging from record lows to record highs in cargo volume within months, leaving logistics companies uncertain about future demand and hesitant to invest in long-term infrastructure. Strategically, Trump has framed tariffs as both an economic weapon and a patriotic duty, suggesting they could replace the federal income tax or finance debt reduction. But in reality, they represent only a small slice of America's fiscal picture, and experts warn that leaning too heavily on tariffs risks undermining competitiveness by isolating U.S. trade partners and incentivizing foreign exporters to reroute commerce elsewhere. Adding to the uncertainty is the legal battle. While the Supreme Court has agreed to hear Trump's appeal after a lower court struck down his use of emergency powers to expand global tariffs, businesses are already bracing for either scenario, either refunds if tariffs are rolled back, or higher costs locked in permanently if the court sides with the White House. The result is a climate of economic limbo where investors hesitate, importers wait on the sidelines, and families quietly adjust to price hikes, all while the administration touts rising revenue as a major win. But as economists point out, tariff dollars are not free money from foreign countries. They're a transfer from American pockets into the Treasury, and unless paired with broader structural reforms on spending, debt, and tax policy, tariffs alone cannot deliver the sweeping fiscal transformation Trump promises. Ultimately, the political gamble is whether voters will view tariffs as proof of tough leadership and national strength, or as an invisible tax that worsens inflation and weakens household purchasing power, a gamble whose outcome could reshape not just U.S. trade policy, but the very balance of America's economic future.